All right, so hey, Das.
Hello, Brenton.
How you going, mate?
I'm very well, thank you.
That's a go. Hey, welcome to today's podcast.
What are we calling it?
Well, we're going to call it The Adventures of Darcy and Brenton.
Okay.
No, I think we're just going to, it's a little bit of a reflection piece and also a bit of a recruitment piece as well, because the intent is to deliver a message out to the marketplace of what we're looking for, which is obviously to grow your team this year, hopefully. Should we find the right person? And I just think that, you know, Seek ads and Indeed ads and job ads in particular is not the type of person we're looking for with you. You come through a different system. You come through a different pathway. How you joined the group was quite interesting, to say the least. And I just want to talk about it. I think that yours and my relationship is you know, very, very good. I don't think a lot of principals and agents or shareholders have got the relationship that we've got. And I want you to have that with the person that works with you. I know obviously Declan's in your team and Anya's in your team as well. But, you know, for me, one of my favourite things about my career is the relationships I've been able to build with the likes of yourself and Delaney and Ella and Matt and so on and so forth. So I thought we'd jump on here and have a bit of a chat about you. You know, a lot of the times people want to talk about Brent and Rory, they want to talk about Ray White and how we've grown. And I want people to understand, you know, the work ethics that required to work next to you.
Or just in the business as well too.
I mean, I think so. Success looks differently to everyone, mate. And I think that yours and my rating of success is probably a bit more around discipline, a bit more around hard work. So let's chat about it.
It's ever growing as well too. Just when you think you reach the goal, we push it out a little bit more.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, the finishing line's never there.
No.
And if it is, then you may as well retire.
You reach the top of the hill and then you find another one.
So let's chat about it. So how long have you been working in the business for now?
I've been with the business for nearly 8 years, coming up to 8 years. So I first started had my work experience or trial in 2017, November 2017. So I think it was like a week or two after my last exam. So I just finished year 12, and it's probably one of those kids that growing up never really had number one, definitely wasn't an academic. So I was always sort of someone distracting others in class and distracting myself often. And, you know, didn't really have, I suppose, a massive idea as to what I wanted to do or be when I grow up. I mean, I still don't think I've probably quite grown up, to be honest. But, the hunch was that I wanted to work with people and work in something that every day was sort of a bit different. And I've always admired property and real estate and architecture. And I suppose the idea or the hunch was that maybe I should have a crack at working in the real estate industry. But that was sort of, I suppose, all the thought that went into it. And sort of found myself, fell into a bit of an opportunity with Ray White Bendigo after meeting you guys at a career night and having an interview, and you said, "Oh, what are you doing for work?" And I said, "Oh, I'm still at school." So I hadn't finished school at that point. And then they said, "Oh, come back." You guys said, "Come back at the end of the year and have a bit of a trial." And that was like 3 weeks, I think it was. And I sort of just did anything that I was told to do. So, you know, scanned files and, you know,
you didn't leave. That's for sure. I think you're told to leave.
I'm still here. Yeah, I'm pretty much haven't left since. So just did random bits and pieces and odd tasks and sort of was just eager and annoyed people until they sort of told me either where to go or just gave me another task. And I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't sort of sitting there, you know, just, you know, looking bored or like I wasn't doing much. So I was very much eager to learn and I guess excited by a whole industry and field that I didn't understand. And then sort of after that and pestering people for a couple of weeks and then being invited to the Christmas party and making an impression on a few people there, I was asked to come back full time in Jan, and I don't know, I haven't really left since.
Let's chat about the careers night, because that's one thing that in business I reckon we come up with really great ideas and sometimes we fail on the execution, and one of those things was the careers night. Like we used to do them and we probably didn't get a lot of success, but you are our greatest success story out of that. And I'll never forget little fella that was straight out of school wearing his first Van Houston suit. I reckon it still had the tags on the inside of the jacket.
Pretty much.
I don't reckon you'd ever learned how to shave before. I could tell by the little cuts in your cheek.
Pants from the op shop.
Yeah, it was over in Killian Walk.
I actually cut my hair for that careers
I know you
night
did. How
too.
good's
I
that?
used to have a pony, like a bun before that. So.
And I'll never forget, you know, you're not the biggest bloke. Not that there's an issue with that.
Thanks, mate.
Small but sexy, some would say. But
old
Tonks like that. But you know, I'll never forget you the only person that put your hand up and you asked the question. And you know, for a 17-year-old at the time to do that would have been intimidating. Like, you know, you're still at school, you're going to try and get a full-time job. And like, I just thought, that's one of my favourite past stories that I always tell people is like, that was the impression that you made, not the drinking ability and all that kind of stuff that you might have had at the Christmas party when you were 18, by the way, for those people that are watching. But, you know, how did it feel being that age working here? Like, how was it? Was it hard?
It definitely had its challenges. I mean, there was parts of me that was like always really excited and definitely like very grateful, obviously, to you and Rory, particularly for giving me a crack when, as I've sort of always said, didn't have really a great deal to offer as a young bloke, other than a bit of drive and and curiosity, to learn and to grow. So I think that was probably something I think I always had a pretty big. Well, I knew obviously I didn't have much to offer in that sense. I probably had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, and knowing obviously I was as young as what I was, working in a industry that's probably at the time in a market that's dominated by people that, old people to be blunt, but people that have been in the industry for 10, 20, 30 years. So I was really excited by the challenge. It probably definitely at times a little bit intimidated, I think, as well too. And probably confidence was a big thing for me early on, as it is for a lot of people. But I just, I sort of just probably backed myself because I didn't really have a plan B either. Like, I think it was just, it was sort of sink or swim in a lot of senses. So, but yeah, it excited me, the idea of being able to work with people and help people. Again, another concept or the reason why I sort of wanted to work, not just I was encouraged by a family member of me at the time when I was growing up to work in sales, because, I was always good at talking to people, and they said I could talk underwater. So I sort of was part of the hunch that obviously I worked on was that not just working in sales, but I always knew that even from a young age, if I wanted to work in that sort of industry, that I wanted to make something, make an impression on people, but also sell something that really mattered. It wasn't just like a transaction that was going to be easily forgotten. So that was something which definitely stuck with me sort of early in and still does, because obviously it's a pretty massive, transaction and journey for anyone to sell, whether it's your home or an investment property or buy that. And I think, an agent's, depending on an agent's ability and competence, can make that absolutely seamless and an incredibly enjoyable one, or an average one at best. So yeah, it was tricky early on, and it's, real estate always still has its tough days and it has its really rewarding days. But I guess I probably just had, and I think what maybe some people sort of lack with real estate is they didn't have a longer term vision or goal. Like, they sort of just were very short sighted. I just knew that obviously if I was going to, work in an industry, I wasn't going to be tough forever, but that it would, if I just hustled hard enough, that I suppose the long term, the goal would pay off, and I'd start to make some good progress and momentum, which I've sort of started to see now, only in the last couple of years, obviously being sort of 7-8 years in and mid 20s now.
So now you're the old guy.
I feel like the old guy, yeah. I feel like I'm part of the
I'll tell you what, you snore like an old man, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm part of the furniture though, for sure. That's definitely the dust has been collected.
How did you go, being a PA is pretty tough.
To you, it's even tougher.
Yeah, and this is definitely not about me, but I know that there are things about me that are black and white, and if you're outside the lines, you're in,
want to be there.
You just don't want to be there. And the world's changed now. You definitely can't, I'm still regimented in everything that I do. Mm-hmm. And, I feel like that has had a huge positive impact on you, particularly being a young guy making pretty good money. You're very, decent looking as well. You're very sharp.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, well, obviously it's hard to stay disciplined in things, but I think now, you'd be way more disciplined than what I am, which I'm very proud of. But going back to PA, because junior associate or whatever you want to call it, because some people don't like the word PA. And it's definitely not what people think, because some people think real estate, or they think PA and they think executive secretary. It's not that. It's like personal assistant or assistant or teammate is probably what I would have said to you. What do you reckon? Why do you think you sell nearly 100 homes a year now? Like what disciplines do you have from when you first started to what you do now?
I think we probably got, and again, something that you instilled in us was probably just getting the basics right. There's no real secret recipe in real estate. I mean, I think it's just as much as you put in, you can get out. But I think where a lot of people get disheartened is they put, a lot of work in for a day, a week, a month or 6 months, and then they expect it to come back sooner than what it's going to. I think even now I probably only fruit the rewards and the benefits of like some of the long days and the big sort of activities and tasks that we did or that I did, for us as a team, like in the first couple of years of real estate. I think probably my ability to have a long-sighted sort of vision, obviously, and nail the basics from a prospecting perspective and just connecting with people probably a lot better than maybe others would have in our marketplace at the time, and actually just showing that you care about them as well. But morning routine has been a massive thing for my journey and me as a person, both personally but also just career-wise. So I think that was something that we got pretty right early on, because once you set up, if you start the first couple of hours or the first part of your day right, I think everything else it just becomes easier to fall into place or easier tasks to do. So the most important parts of my day still both personally and work wise are probably anything from was when I'm up by about 5:30, 5:45 through to like 9:30. That's probably like probably the best part of the day, in the sense of obviously go time. You can be productive. I get to go to gym, I get to go for a walk, morning coffee, catch up on emails, catch up on admin, and that's obviously what I do now. But even then, obviously, when we were sort of, first working together, I'd always try to be the first one in the office, not for the sake of just being that, but I knew that if I got that first hour or, half an hour right, and I got in before everyone else to just sort of set up my day, figure out what I wanted to achieve for the day and what, I did or hadn't done, yesterday or the days before that still needed to be sorted. And probably just calls and picking up the phone. The more people you connect with in real estate, the better, and the more likely you are to win. Win the task or win the day, as we like to say. I think outside of that routine, it was just the prospecting activities and the actual connecting with people. I think sometimes as well too, people can get caught up on the numbers of whatever task you're trying to achieve, whether that's sales or listings or calls or appraisals. But for me, I think as well too, the quality of what I was trying to do and connect with people, I just knew that that if I had nothing to show for myself in the sense of being a young new to industry agent, how was I going to win business, or how was I going to connect with people? And I was just going to call more people, obviously, ideally, and connect with more people, but actually have a lasting impression as well too, So I think that was something which I really tried to focus on and probably, started to do better as time went on. So there's clients now that, I met when I was 18, 19 that I knocked on their door and, got to know their who they were and their story and what they did to the property and how long they've been there and what their dog's name was and what their kids' names were and what their plans were with the property or when they're heading there, or when they're on to the next chapter, and some of which didn't even have any intentions of, real estate plans or selling. But I was always just calling to continue to strengthen a relationship with someone, not because I thought they were going to sell, but because I just wanted to be their market advisor and their trusted person within the marketplace to say, this is what's going on in your area. How's the kids? How's the family? How about, the Western Bulldogs winning, last weekend, whatever it was. And, even only now am I just starting to, I suppose, those connections starting to actually eventuate into, to listings or referrals or anything.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I reckon you would have heard me say a few times talking to you about like muscle memory and repetition, and consistency will always outweigh anything else. One thing that you still do, now your ideal week in the same time in the morning says bring the energy, because we always talk about that, because every call that you do, it needs to be as if it was the first connection, that you've made, if that was the only thing that was going to happen. And I think one thing you understood, because after you, there's been different improvements in business to be able to handle capacity and workload, is like you had to do all of our calls. So you were in control of every dialogue that happened. So you remembered everything. And obviously you have a database, and that's how you've been taught.
Probably why I'm a
right?
control freak too, though.
Yeah, same. But it's more, sometimes I think people have a false illusion of real estate that they think, oh, we'll just come in and we'll just do all these social media paid ads. No one gives a shit about the social media paid ads. Sorry, mate. And I know that you do it. Like, I could not give two shits about that. Whereas I care about the connection. And for someone who's tarred with the same brush like I am, when you call, that means a lot to me. And there's different demographics and different people in life that will suit different things. And yes, 100%. There are people that are attracted to that. Yeah. Yes, it works. But the one thing I think you do really well is your note-taking about the individual is world-class, so that when you do eventually get that connection. And one thing I wanted to share with people that are thinking about real estate is one of Darcy's reviews actually says, he called me for 4 years, every 90 days, and I never answered, and he left a message every single time. And it was your voice every single time saying, hey, it's Darcy, I'm ringing on behalf of Brent and I, just checking in to see how Doris the dog's going, or whatever it was, right? That's the difference between someone making it and someone just having a job. Like, you've made it, so you should be proud of yourself about that. Thanks, and I guess why I wanted to talk about that is because that's sort of what we're looking for. You know, we're looking for someone who's happy to face rejection every day, who doesn't have to put the nice sold sticker up and get all the likes and shares. Mate, I've been there too. I know how good it is when someone, you know, checks your story and you see who's checked it. You're like, oh, I got a love heart reaction on that. I know how that feels. But I guess one thing that you believed in was the vision, and like everyone goes, oh, geez, it's hard making calls. Well, try making calls and running a company where you got to worry about all the outgoings that happen, particularly early on. And I think that someone that wants to join your team needs to realise that even if you just leave a message, which a lot of people don't, will make an impact. And I think, going back to the first thing you said, so many people get disheartened by that, but like you just never did. You're like a little human meatball, we call you, the meatball.
I've been called a bulldog quite a few
times. You just keep
Yeah.
going, mate. And like that's because you got your morning routine right, you're not affected by that. Or when someone says, "Hey, Das, I've actually decided to list with somebody else, but can you help us find a house?" You don't feel like, "Oh, well, you didn't list with me, I'm not going to help you find a house," because you value the just delivering great service, and that if they buy or sell through us, that's fantastic. But if they remember you, it's even more important, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's really awesome. So talk to me about your ideal week at the moment. Like, how do you fit what you do into 5 days? Is that achievable or not?
No. No, look, I mean, it depends. And I suppose like my ideal week now versus, you know, my ideal week when I first started, or what someone potentially who would be looking at joining our team looks like, you know, would be two very different things. I mean, I think real estate, the truth is real estate is probably a 6 to 7 day job. Like, that's the truth. And it depends on what you consider working as well too. Like, if you consider talking to people about one of their biggest assets, or, you know, buying, or making one of the biggest financial decisions they're going to make in their life, like, you're doing that 7 days a week. So I think like people, you know, sort of probably get caught up on the idea of working this many hours, or, you know, or this many days, obviously. And I suppose in real estate, like, that is literally just the lifestyle of what you're doing. So if you know, really relish the opportunities and really love what you do and love with the people that you work with and that you engage with, it's not really work in a lot of senses as well too. So like, I'll probably speak with, like, on between, like, I'll chat on my ideal week and morning routine in a moment, but like from 7:45 to 8:30 a.m. I'd probably engage or speak with minimum 10 people within like the first hour of my day. And whether that's via a call, SMS, email, it's just connection. And there's people that you're speaking with on a Saturday and a Sunday. But yeah, realistically, real estate is like, it's full on. But, you know, there's a lot of things to love about it if you're really, you know, ingrained in the process and get to reap the rewards. But, you know, there's probably, you know, you're probably still squeezing in tasks, whether you've got the suit on or not, within probably 6 days. Saturdays obviously is a massive thing in our industry, and certainly in my team, and for me as well too, it always has been. You know, open homes obviously is where you get to meet new and potential clients, and obviously whether they buy the property off you or not is sort of irrelevant in my opinion. It's just obviously the opportunity to make an impression on someone, remember them, meet them, and try to continue to build a relationship. But, my ideal week, or obviously Mondays, is generally a lot of follow up from the weekend. Sort of obviously from Saturday gone, follow up from open homes and different things, people that you haven't met with, inspections, appraisals, different bits and pieces, making sure vendor reports, which are reports that we send out to our clients every week, are sort of starting to shape up well. Lots of pipeline follow ups, so people that are looking at potentially selling. Tuesdays again is more of the sort of the buyer follow-up and vendor reporting, and making sure that's sort of all sent off. Midweek is obviously where we sort of communicate in the most part with all of our clients, so meeting with vendors either face-to-face or over FaceTime or call, checking in with them, assessing how the campaign is tracking, how things have gone, and what I suppose the last 7 days have been, and what the action plan for the next 7 days oncoming is. Thursday we have different team activities as well too. So we'll have a call block, prospecting obviously to buyers and potential sellers. We'll obviously look at a lot of new stock as well too every fortnight, and then again additional sort of inspections and buyer appointments, and Fridays will be a lot of, again, I guess, prep for the weekend as well too, follow up listing presentations, and then Saturday we'll spend I suppose most of the day doing anywhere from sort of 5 to 8, 10 open homes or inspections. So most days for me will start, I'll get up generally at about 5:45 most mornings to do go to gym, morning routine, go for a walk, grab a coffee around the lake. Go home, get ready, and get into the office by about 8 a.m. or close to, or just after, depending on what the first appointment is. And then most of the time, I'll probably wrap up for the day around sort of 6:30. But then there's sometimes still appointments, calls, inspections, emails and stuff that you're still doing outside of that. So it is a pretty full-on lifestyle, but, you also get other benefits as well too, is that you can take, sort of set times off. But I think for what someone would be looking at if they were starting in real estate or in the industry, you've got to be working sort of minimum probably 5-6 days a week.
Yeah, I wanted to be pretty black and white about balance is super important, and I feel like from where I sit, you find the balance a little bit later on, and I don't want to sugarcoat that for new people that are coming in, particularly working with you, because you work like I do, and I would say, well, how do you think life is now compared to what it was 5 years ago?
Oh, it's just it's a different world.
Different world,
really.
And you would always talk about that the world can be seen via a different lens all the time, and this is a job that you can work that it could create such satisfaction that if you really are embedded into that, I've always said to you, the money will always come. And there are definitely times where there hasn't been money, and I don't want this to be about a money chat, but this year in particular, since you've grown your team, I think you've done better in terms of a better balance, which is a credit to new leaders coming into the business and whatnot, and new teammates. But I think you're very generous as well. Like I think you reward for effort. You're not someone that just, wants to keep everything for yourself. So talk to me about, you and I used to sit down every year and we'd write all our goals, right? And you and Declan do the same thing? Yep. So goal setting is really important to us because that means we have a clear ambition as to where we want to get to. And we just know that if we get as close as we possibly can do to that, then we'll be better than what we were last year. Even though the finishing line, keeps getting further and further
away each year.
I remember a year where we sat down. You've done so well for yourself, and we're not going to talk about. You wanted to buy a house. The first thing you wanted to do was buy a car. You went and bought your car. You paid cash for your car. You then said, I wanted to buy a house. Put 20% down for your house. You then said, I want to be on the front page of realestate.com when people search for real estate agents in Bendigo. You then become a partner in the business, an equity shareholder in the building, and then you won the Regional Agent of the Year award throughout our whole network in Victoria.
Number one.
What a fantastic rise. A chances are you win it again this year. How's the feeling for you when you achieve that? Like, what do you reflect on when you think, I've made it. Like for you in your role, there wouldn't be too many people your age that have been able to do what you do, but I genuinely think you just nail those basics. So when you won Regional Agent of the Year, how'd you feel?
Yeah, it was definitely surreal. I think, again, like talking about, early in the piece, like there's probably still a lot of doubt, and sort of a lack of self-confidence, obviously, that I could probably, that I could really go that far, I think, as well too, and like it always, you set all these ambitious goals, which they sort of always seem so far away. And then I guess as we always did, you always just break it down. You work it backwards, obviously, from what we need to achieve in the half year to achieve the full year goal, what we need to achieve in the quarter, what we need to achieve in the month and weekly. And it's definitely surreal to, I suppose, think about my journey in some senses. Obviously, it's all sort of flown past, but it feels like a lifetime that I've been working at it. But to have achieved, to have been number one regional agent in Vic-Tas for the Ray White Group is definitely probably a massive, and what I thought was to be a pretty ambitious goal at the time, and probably one I didn't really think that was maybe even in reach, or really definitely, when I was the first couple of years in the industry, it wouldn't have ever something in my wildest dreams would have thought I could have achieved. So it was, it was really special. It was a privilege. I'm definitely someone that I'd like to say likes to try and stay humble too, as well too. Like, I don't, love to talk about, myself massively or big note myself in front of, peers or clients or whatever. But it was definitely a really proud moment.
Proud moment for us too, mate. I reckon I shared the post 9 times in 3 weeks.
Absolutely.
Had tears down the face and all that.
Yeah, a few happy tears for sure.
But so with that in mind and trying to find someone who thinks like you, like how important is teamwork to you?
Massively, because I think it's, as much as obviously very much, we're all out for self-progression, obviously, and growing, who you are, obviously, as a person and position and income and all these different things. Like obviously the quote that the White family always says, like, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together, is still something I think which is, we sort of, I suppose, sort of live and operate by. And it's got to be, it's one unit, and obviously that everyone has different strengths and abilities, obviously, that I suppose can deliver a great experience or a great outcome, but we can't do it just on our own. I couldn't be who I am or achieve what I do without Declan and without Anna and without my team, and that have been, with me and in my corner for, not just a year, but many years. And I'll always attribute my success.
Correct yourself, mate.
Yeah, attribute my success to the team and to the people, I suppose, that have supported me from the start as well too. So that's you and Raws and the business and Russ and all my peers and Ella and Declan and Anna. So I definitely know that I wouldn't be who I am or where I am without all the support that I've had around me. So I think someone that that I'd like to have working in our team, not just for me, because you're not just working, for me. We're working together as a team to try and achieve goals and greater heights from what we've already, from what we've managed to do. Is someone that wants to be a team player, wants to be a part of something special, probably knows that. I think that there's got to be an understanding that it's not instant gratification. You're not going to get all those big wins or awards or even sort of progress in some senses in a short period of time. It's gonna happen over a longer period. But if you trust the process and you stick with it and stick with us, then I think that amazing things can happen. And that's probably what I've experienced. It's been a testament to my journey and the people that have supported me, because I definitely wouldn't be in the spot that I'm in without support from yourself, Brent, and from Rory and from everyone else.
Yeah,
so.
I think the message we're trying to get across here is for example, for me, when we're building business or we're trying to build teams or we're not talking about building an individual. No. And I know I've never been like that. I've never been like when the soul sticker goes up, I wish it could have all of you on the sticker because we all do a different role. But you got to look at the most successful sporting clubs, for example, and the reserves are still just as pumped when the first win a grand final. Do you know what I mean? Everyone is overjoyed by the team winning and success. Yeah. And then when someone gets their opportunity, it can go amazing, right? Yeah. And I think that's one thing about you is clear defined expectations and accountability and all that's really important.
Yeah.
But also knowing that, on a Friday at 7 o'clock when a call's going to get done, you're doing it. You'll always look after everyone in the team, definitely in terms of, being generous in terms of, buying a coffee, for example. A lot of the time I notice you're always saying, oh, hey, does anyone want a coffee? And that's not because you're writing good money. It's just in you to be generous. And I'd like to think that Rory and I are the same, it's not about that. But if you to describe the job that you want for someone who's going to work in your team in the next 12 months, what are they going to be doing?
Well, it's going to be a lot of, how do we put this nicely, Brenton? There's going to be a lot of grunt work. There's no doubt about that. Like, I think,
1%, we call it.
1%ers. Yeah. It's true. 1% better every day. But, a lot of tasks that are going to be sort of, sometimes mundane, but I think going to pose a lot of opportunity in the long term as well too. So I think someone that hopefully, obviously, that I'd like to sort of enjoy, use to grow my team would be doing a lot of prospecting, obviously. So a lot of stuff that as well too I did when I first, started as a sales cadet, if you will, or a sales, sales sort of PA. And I think someone I like the idea, the fact that I think that if someone had a similar sort of journey or beginning of sort of early part of the tasks in as their entry into real estate that I did, then the sky is the limit, I guess. Because I know that if all I had was I suppose a good attitude and a willingness to learn and a willingness to probably just work really hard and probably outwork a lot of competition that was maybe a little bit complacent, and I can achieve what I've achieved in, and I still haven't sort of ticked off all my goals, but I can achieve what I have in 7 years, then if someone has those three things, that's probably all they need. But what are they going to be doing? I suppose they've just got to tackle every day with energy, and they're going to be doing a lot of calls, a lot of dropping of letters, a lot of prospecting around results, a lot of knocking on doors, supporting, obviously attending inspections with myself or Declan or anyone in the team, and probably just honestly sort of sitting alongside myself and with the team and just sort of soaking up and absorbing, being a bit of a sponge as best as I can for probably a good 12, 18 months. But it's funny, like I think by doing, although those tasks don't even necessarily sound super exciting, like by doing that still contributes the 1% to all the other success that we could have as a team and as an agent. And by being, surrounded by that success, it's amazing how much you can learn and grow as a person in such a short period of time. So, I think maybe even the goal for me at the start when I first started, as much as obviously I knew I was going to be, I suppose, an agent at some point, it wasn't like just get out there and do it as quickly as what I want, as quickly as what I needed to, or as what we wanted. It was just like, we'll just go out and have a red hot crack and take every day by the horns and have a good attitude and work hard, and then like everything else will just sort of like, you'll sort of just become that agent that can go really far and achieve great things. So, I suppose it never really occurred to me when I first started in real estate that I could be the number one agent in Vic-Tas regionally, or that I could do the things that I've managed to achieve. And some days, I suppose in hindsight, like I'm still sort of really, wouldn't have almost seen it coming in some senses. But yeah, you trust the process and do those little 1%ers, and things happen, after some time it all falls into place.
It's great that you mentioned looking for someone who's sort of happy to play their role and understand that team success, you're going to get carried along the way and stuff like that, because there are a lot of people that join real estate and expect to just have it like it's not like that. And I don't know where anyone ever thought it was like that either, because it wasn't like that when I first started. It definitely wasn't like that when you started, and it's not like that today either. Yeah. Or people think, well, hang on, if I do this, it's not about that. It's about mastering some element of your craft that you know, hey, I add value to this group by doing this particular thing that I know that I do better than that person. And sometimes that is just opening houses. If you love opening houses and that's what you want to do, go do it. If you like talking to people on the phone, go do it. If you like knocking on doors, go do it. Yeah. You know what? If you like doing admin, do it. Yeah. Like, it's just, I don't know where there's a misconception in the industry where you can go from 0 to 100 overnight, because I definitely don't know how to do that.
Very few can do it. Very few.
So, yeah, just touching on one last final thing from probably where I see it is, it's interesting when you define success and you say, oh, I never thought I could be number one Vic-Tas regionally. Yeah. You know, I was lucky enough to be in the top 35 agents under 35, you know, for the industry. Surely, like, what's the next win for you? Like, because I know what I feel like when we achieve things, I'm like, yes, you know, me and Darcy, or me and Matt, or me and Ella, or me and Delaney, or just the sales team. But one of the favourite photos I've got is actually, believe it or not, when we finished third at the Ray White Awards. And the reason why I've got that printed at home is because that was the first time we ever made it up on stage. Yeah. And for me, I remember what it was like when you were a PA and there was steam coming out of my ears because Bendigo was never recognised for anything.
At the back of the room.
There was just shit house, right? But that photo there is like, everyone's just so happy because that's what success looked like for us. You know, now I argue we probably finish in the top 3 more times than what we don't. So that's sort of like been and gone. It's like old news. So what does that
another hill.
So, you know, PM number 1. I mean, just to throw that one out there. But what's the next step to get your team? What does that pinnacle this year look like? And it doesn't need to be an award. What is it? What are you searching for?
I think that always changes. So too. It's an ever evolving thing. The goal, well, so if we talk about the financial year just gone, obviously the goal was to maintain number 1, obviously in the group for Vic-Tas regionally. So which we'll find out on soon, but I think there's a reasonable opportunity to hopefully land that again. What does success look like in the next 12 months? Look, I think I would love to probably continue to see the whole sales team grow and you know, obviously we've always been chasing the illustrious number 1, obviously regionally as well too, which we're yet to secure. I've never, I suppose a goal that we've set is we wanted to sell in this financial year coming over 100 homes. So we've never cracked the 3 figures. So that would be, another big one that we're after. But I think growing the team, continuing to be happy and healthy. I know that sounds obviously probably almost a little bit cliche, but like it is very much all these little things that contribute to the big goal. Got some personal sort of goals and ambitions financially, but yeah, I think I just want to continue to maintain and grow steadily, grow a team that are that are happy to come to work and excited to for what the next challenges pose. We'd love to be number 1, obviously, in our marketplace for the Bendigo Greater Region. We're in the top 3 at the moment. There's still a bit of a way to go, but I think that would be a long-term goal that we'd love to sit as a number 1 in our marketplace. There's some really great agents in our market. There's no doubt about that. So it's very competitive, and just keep hustling, motherfucker. That's as simple as that, really.
To wrap it up, for whatever it's worth, you know, I see us as a group as number 1 in our eyes. Like, it wouldn't matter if we grew or we shrunk. You know, I feel like the core group and everyone that gets bolted on is a really great bunch of people. That's really important. To summarize what you're looking for, you want someone who's got a good attitude, who understands that everything can be taught as long as you've got that.
100%.
That just because you might be sitting on the bus in the 3rd row, you're still on the bus. 100%. And that the bigger goal for the group is to carry everyone forward because the outcome for everyone's going to be so much better. For the people that are still with us after this gets cut up, you know, you've done a remarkable job, young man. You still frustrate me.
Thanks, mate.
But
Thanks,
you're like a little brother to me, and you are part of the furniture. You've done from a young man out of school to where you are now is absolutely exceptional. So if you can instill those qualities onto deck and onto the next person that you put on, and hey, that might not work out. I've had plenty of people that have come and gone, which is not a bad thing.
Not for everyone either. That's
not for everyone. The job is grueling. But if you can instill those qualities, I think you'll have an even brighter next 5 years. So thanks for joining. And if you're interested, just ring 5438 ask to speak to Darcy or myself.
Yeah.
Or just email. There'll be a link in there. Drop us a DM.
Yeah.
Is that what we do on Instagram these days? A DM?
As everyone like for a confidential
coffee chat, which you can't have in Bendigo.
Yeah.
Because someone knows someone who knows someone.
Or if you're still in high school, hey, no worries. I'm happy to have
catch up. To the parent, genuinely to the parents out there or guardians out there that are looking to find stability for someone who might need it. I feel like the company's definitely giving you that, mate. And if you're interested, we'd love to chat. Cheers, mate. Right. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, guys.